Perfect. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, panel. How's everyone hanging in there? We're coming close to the end, but we're not there yet. So we'll just kind of tease what the rest of the day looks like. We're going to have here briefly Matthew Wheble here to talk about an idea that was actually born sort of as a result of the last Syrotuck, maybe a relationship that formed through that conference, and then further of idea sharing that's happened since then. And then we're going to do our hot wash of the event with some specific questions we have for you guys of looking forward into the next Syrotuck Symposium and what it looks like going forward. And then there's going to be an ice cream truck. So hang on, and you can get to the ice cream part. If you don't, then you don't get ice cream. But we won't gauge participation based on who gets in line first or not. But all right, so with that, Matthew Wheble is a senior advisor for the New Zealand Search and Rescue Secretariat and a former police officer with extensive experience in disaster victim identification, emergency management, and search and rescue. Matt has held key roles in New Zealand Police, including being the Disaster Victim Identification National Coordinator and the National Search and Rescue Coordinator and the National Emergency Management Coordinator. In his current role, he oversees the New Zealand Search and Rescue Operational Framework, as well as overseeing reviews of both operations and systematic issues. He volunteers in SAR and is actively active operationally and as a trainer for both field teams and incident management teams. I'm tired. So Matthew is here to pitch an idea, really, and make an announcement for the International Landsar Forum.
Thanks, Amy. Is my time cut short? Do you want it? Yeah, do you want me to shorten it or? Okay, let's go. Right. This one here. Yeah, thank you, Amy. Like Amy said, work for the New Zealand Search and Rescue Secretariat. I'm not here on their behalf. I'm here as a Landsar volunteer. I'm very much heavily involved in Landsar as an operational SME, and I do some tutoring as well, and both in IMT and operationally in the field. So, like Amy said, this sort of came about back in Iceland, 2022. So we'll get into this if this works. I have to hold my tongue slightly differently. Oh, like that. Okay. So before I get into the introductions, it started off quite a small idea, and we'll get into the background, but we've got to set up a bit of a steering committee, and we've got myself, Ali, we've got Amy, we've got Guy, we've got Eric, got Bob, Chris, and Scott Hammond, who's not here today. And it came about really about more to the front of my mind when we had a discussion with the planning team from Washington State. So Amy was great, really great in setting up this meeting. I wanted to find out more about the planning team that they had in Washington State. And then it was like, hey, there's a lot of great knowledge coming out. There's some great skills and experienced people out there. And that sort of started the ball rolling about, hey, why don't we start up a forum, an international forum? Because there's more than 5 or 6 great minds in search and rescue. There's so many more people that that can come together and work on different projects. So we talked about that, and we started the ball rolling, had a few more meetings, and then we said, okay, what do we want to do from this forum? And that was really learn from each other, learn from your experiences, learn from the knowledge and the good things and those with opportunities to learn. So we started to develop the forum and about learning through the shared experiences from those people. And I'll go through the objectives shortly, but we wanted to make sure it worked in partnership with the Syrotuck Symposium. It's not a us and them thing. This is working in partnership. So what is the purpose of this forum? Well, the purpose is of International Land Search and Rescue Forum, or ILSAR, is to provide a forum to collaborate on operational search and rescue in the land environment and to operationalize the Syrotuck Symposium intellectual and scientific developments. So what I want to say right at the beginning is this doesn't include USAR. We're looking at very much the land base. I know some places call backcountry. We're also looking at the suburban areas and that sort of stuff, and mountains. So looking at all that type of thing. So, but also taking into account what we can learn from maritime, because actually maritime have been doing search and rescue for a long time, and we can actually learn some things from there. So these are the three really key objectives. So if we look at collaboration, well, we want to collaborate on a lot of different things, and then that's looking at SAR doctrine. And I know we have an ongoing issue in New Zealand around SAR doctrine. There is none. It's one of those things. There's a lot of guidelines. There's a lot of frameworks, but actually doctrine, there isn't anything. So we get people making up things. And these people are really smart people. They think, right, this is the best thing. And that gets thrown in. And SAR changes to go down that track. But we miss out on a lot of other information. So we start going down this track, and we have issues later on, especially in our training. But we also want to collaborate on technology. What's happening, and we've talked about AI technology, but there's a lot of other technology. And I was talking to a gentleman over there about drones, UAVs. New Zealand's quite far behind on UAVs, but there's so much we can learn from international partners. And then around the networking, we're seeing less conferences, and we're seeing less international gatherings where we can actually learn from each other. And coming together on this forum would be an opportunity to meet with other SMEs. It's also a good way to get out the information that you're working on your technology or on other projects. But it's also about sharing your learned your experiences. So I think that's one of the greatest ways to learn is from what happened in that operation. Show us a case study, share a case study, what happened in that case study. And going back to Ali's point in her presentation around lessons identified versus lessons learned, that's huge. So we're really good in New Zealand around identifying things. We suck at learning from them because we identified the same issues time and time again. I've just been running nationally significant search and rescue exercises for New Zealand. And the same issues have started to come out that we saw 3 years ago, 6 years ago. That incident management teams, police don't work well with others. Being a former police officer, I know that because I wanted to take control. I wanted to take command. I wanted to solve the problems. We find it very hard to work in an integrated multi-agency situation. And that's what you're finding, especially in the civil defense side of things. So you get a big scale, nationally significant search and rescue operation going on. You're going to need your land SAR members in your incident management team. You're going to need your coast guards, your surf lifesaving. We struggle. So we can learn from what happens overseas, how they do it. We can share our experiences and our case studies. So that's going to be one of the key things, is that bit of sharing. It's going to be an online meeting, and initially it will be getting people in online to do presentations, share case studies. I'll also look at how we overcome problems and challenges. So instead of you trying to just work out a problem with just a few heads, you now got an international forum to share those challenges and say, hey, what's happening in your areas? Could that work in our area? And going back to lessons identified and lessons learned, I think we've put that point across. There is a difference. So initially we're looking at, for the audience, we don't want to limit it, but at the beginning, we are going to limit it. Just in the way that we want to get the format right. So initially it will be invitation only, and we'll be going out to all the different countries and people that we know, and we'll discuss who's going to be best to be invited in initially. And then it will grow. Because it's an online platform, we can invite more people. But we want to get the format right. But it should consist of suitable people. We've got a lot of passionate people in SAR. So it needs to be suitable representatives in the land search and rescue environment. And they need to have the relevant, current, and that's important, current, academic and operational, industry or technical knowledge. So there's really good, there's a lot of people who stopped learning, and when they stop learning, they don't progress. So that's why we've said current. So the forum would look like this. It will be held quarterly to begin with, and it will rotate given the different time zones. So I do it for other forums. You get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then it's your turn to have a 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It goes roundabout. So sometimes you're having a glass of wine. Sometimes it's breakfast, and sometimes you're in your pajamas. It's just one of those things, and that's the only way it's going to work and be fair. The whole thing will be around 1 hour to an hour and a half, with a focus on a presentation about 30 to 45 minutes. Then it's given time for a discussion, a Q&A time. So what we're hoping to do as well is document it and record it at some stage, so it'll be available as well. So that's the next step. So that's what we're looking at. I'm open to any questions, and any of the people from the steering committee can also answer. That brings us to a point we're not paying for anything. There's no cost at the moment. If you want to fly out to us, happy for you to fly out in your pajamas if you want. Cool. No questions? Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. you.